It's just us.
Right.
Especially
As I normally do.
Corey, no singing.
That would be a trick.
No singing.
No words.
No words.
Just the drum.
Just the cornet.
Welcome everyone. As you're making your way in, make sure to grab both a prayer book and a supplement sheet. And we'll keep singing for a little bit as people enter. turn to your supplement sheet, page 1, first song at the top, Return Again, to help us ground and land in this service this morning. Morning, it's evening. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone who's here in person with us tonight, and everyone who is attending with us online. I truly feel that every single one of you who has showed up here tonight, no matter how you chose to show up, you're all needed. We need you here, your prayers, your supplications, your whole selves. We need each other to get through these truly unimaginable times. I'm really just so grateful for all of your presence. I doubt many of us are entering this season and this service here tonight with that much levity. These are not light times. Preparing how to guide us into this collective experience felt like a nearly impossible task, for the state of the world is changing by the hour, and anything I say is inevitably leaving something else out. But my hope is that this service and our time together over this High Holy Day season can serve as a channel from grief and rage and heartbreak and fear into the better world that we are building together. The theme for this year's High Holidays is Letaken Olam B'Malchut Shaddai, which means in collective power we mend the world. This phrase, taken from the Aleinu, is one of the origins for the term Tikkun Olam. And while we understand Tikkun Olam today as a synonym for social justice, its origins are something much more mystical. It's the notion that in every realm of existence, from the most human to the most divine, humans have agency and power to transform the world for the better. It is our duty and it is our responsibility to find all that is broken and bring it into unity. We have all the tools at our disposal. It is just about whether and how we choose to use them. In a time in which I bet a lot of us feel powerless, remembering that we have power feels absolutely crucial. However, we cannot do it alone. We need each other. For it's not just power, but the power of the collective crying out together that can truly mend the world. So my prayer for us tonight is that we can unify across many differences and find our common vested interest in the sustenance of life. And once we are rejuvenated by this time together, we can grab the tools and get to work. So in the spirit of world mending and world building, myself and the ensemble are going to teach you a new song written by a loved singer-songwriter, Shefa Gold, that will be our anthem as we vision and build toward a mended world over this high holiday season. The words you can find on page 1 of your supplement sheet, which you either grabbed at the back as you came in, or if you're watching online, I don't know where to look, but if you're watching online, you can find the supplement sheet on our High Holidays webpage. So please, when you catch on, it's a chant, so we'll sing the same words over and over again. When you catch on, please join in and sing along with us. Letaken Olam B'Malchut Shaddai. 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 So may you know as we move through this time that together we are more powerful than alone, and that you have that song in your back pocket to hold you in any time that you're feeling powerless. So as we begin kind of welcoming in Rosh Hashanah, I wanted to invite up some folks to read a poem for you, but this isn't just any poem. This is a poem that was woven together through the collective words of our community. I asked our community, who do you want to ensure feels welcomed in our community and at these services? And people submitted their answers, and out of it, this poem came. And I hope that it can be an anchor for us throughout these services to know of the community that we are and the community that we're aspiring to be. So to read this poem, I'd love to invite up Robin Roth and Dave Franquist.
We are a diverse community. We are an unfinished community.
And this is a prayer of both reality and aspiration, praise and supplication, who we are and who we aspire to be as a community.
Let us all welcome and honor one another, observant Jews and secular Jews, non-Jews, lovers of Adonai and atheists, those who pray in Hebrew and those who pray in English, and those who don't pray, those who identify as Zionist or anti-Zionist or non-Zionist, or those who have no relationship to Zionism, students of all ages,
Agnostics, atheists, secular humanists, people uncomfortable with God language and imagery, those who do not believe in the traditional God of Judaism, who do not believe in an external God at all, but a spiritual force within us and permeating the universe.
those struggling with mental health or addiction issues, including suicidal thoughts, and their family and friends.
Refugees from war and refugees from oppression, immigrants and migrants, legal and illegal, people of all sexual orientations, people of all colors.
All of humanity.
Everyone with a soul. All who are trying, more or less successfully, to be fully who they are and to honor others for being fully who they are. Everyone who has made a mistake. Everyone who is, at times, uncertain.
Our new members, our longtime members, young and old, those who have everything to give back to this community, and those who believe they have nothing to give.
If you feel that we as a community are too supportive of Palestinians, if you feel that we as a community are too supportive of Israel, if you feel like we as a community talk about what is happening there too much or too little, or that your voice is not welcome in the conversation, if you haven't found your voice yet, or if it is cracking or ever changing.
If you feel that we as a community are not doing enough to combat injustice in the world and to take responsibility for our part in that injustice, if you want more from our community,
if your heart is breaking, broken, if you feel numb and shut down, if you're on fire with rage, if you feel hopeless, if the world feels like too much, if you don't know what to do anymore, if you are longing to be in a collective dream of the world to come, if you are seeking sustenance for the long haul.
if you are here, but you don't know how to connect with the intentions of the day. If you are currently engaged in a process of teshuvah with someone, if your heart is opening and softening in forgiveness, if your heart is hardening or being hardened, if you are not ready, may never feel ready to forgive, if you are not sure what it means to forgive, if you wonder what it would be like to forgive just a little bit more,
know that you are welcome here as your perfectly imperfect self in this perfectly imperfect community. Know that we sometimes fail one another, but we will always strive to do better. Welcome.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Dave. The words of our community. And so with that intention on our hearts, we'll really welcome in Rosh Hashanah with our candle lighting, which is on page 28 in your Machzor. And I'd love to invite up Liz and Eric and Eli and Gail and George to help us. Yes, they're all here, good. To help us in lighting our Yom Tov candles, our Day of Goodness candles. Page 28 in your Machzor if you're following along. And again, the Machzor can be downloaded off of our High Holidays website for those online to follow along as well. And when the candles are lit, I'll invite us to invite in the light and cover our eyes. This melody might be a little different than usual, but you'll recognize it from last year. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של יום טוב. Shana Tova, everyone. Thank you all for lighting the candles. Shana Tova. Maybe turn to someone next to you and wish them a Shana Tova umetuka, a good and sweet new year. And in that spirit of newness, of new beginnings, we'll say the Shehachianu, or we'll sing the Shehachianu, also on page 28. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. May this new year bring the newness that we all need in this time. So I'm going to invite folks to turn to page 2. And it feels important when we're marking our own religious ceremony to acknowledge the peoples of this land on whose land we are having this ritual. And so how we're going to do this is on the top of page 2, we have a land acknowledgement. And we're going to do a choral reading, which means whatever lines of this 2 paragraphs jumps out to you, you can join for a word, you can join for a phrase, you can join for a full sentence, you can join for the whole thing. Read the parts that feel resonant to you, and our voices will rise and fall in a cacophony of acknowledgement. And so we'll read together the parts that you'd like to read. We would like to acknowledge that we are celebrating this holiday on the unceded ancestral lands of the Yelamu Ramaytush Ohlone. The Yelamu Ramaytush Ohlone underwent genocide over centuries throughout multiple waves of European settlement, yet still survive and maintain their sovereign rights to this land to this day. We recognize that as the original stewards of this land, the Ramaytush Ohlone understood the interconnectedness of all things and maintained harmony with nature for millennia. We honor the remaining Ramaytush Ohlone peoples and their relatives for their enduring commitment to this land and to Mother Earth, and thank them for allowing us to be guests on their land. As members of a people who have undergone genocide, cultural erasure, and diaspora for millennia, it is our obligation to ally with peoples who have undergone the same. May this service be one of many openings into this ongoing commitment. And with that, we'll make our way into our service this evening. But first, a note about prayer. There's so many ways to pray, and I know prayer is edgy for most people. And what we're doing tonight is prayer, but it's also song, and it's also movement, and it's also dance, and it's also in Hebrew, and it's also in English, and it's also wordless. And I just want you to know that however it is that you're praying, that is welcome. You're invited to stand up, you're invited to move around, you're invited to lie down, you're invited to sing the words, you're invited to sing whatever words come through you, and it's all welcome. And that what you're praying to or who you're praying to, or maybe there's nothing you're praying to, and that is welcome too. Maybe you're just trying to cry out in unison with our community. And so to kind of set this intention around prayer, we'll sing a song on page 1. You could feel free to just, if you'd like, just close your eyes and let the words and the intention watch over you. You don't have to believe in God to pray. You don't have to believe all the words you say. You just have to let yourself create a sense of meaning that will saturate your life with depth and centeredness, that will help you feel at home, that will hold you through the dark abyss. And so we pray, page 58. We open with the Hashli Kaddish. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you're willing and able and desiring. Call to Prayer, page 62. I invite you to take a deep breath in and out. And we'll continue by welcoming in the darkness. Jewish days always start in darkness rather than in light. And I think that teaches us something about this tradition. So we'll sing the words on your supplement, page 2. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Night becomes day, day turns to night. page 66. Umavir yom, umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai, Zavot Shemo, El Hai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim. And so in our evening service, we always ground ourselves in time and in place. And from there, we can look around and see how much we are loved. And so we turn to page 72 to sing of this love that is worldwide, that is loving us at all times. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha Torah u'mitzvot u'kim u'mishpatim otanu limadata Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shofeinu u'b'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, באורך ימינו, ובהם נהיה יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. ואהבתך לא תסור ממנו לעולמים. איי, 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 איי. איי, 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 איי. איי, 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 איי. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Baruch atah Adonai Ohel Amo Yisrael. And so, what do we do when we're loved but return that love in kind? So one of our central blessings, the Shema and the Ve'ahavta, is a prayer of the love that we owe. And so there he is. I'd love to invite Bodhi up to help lead us in the Shema and the Ve'ahavta this evening. Bodhi had his bar mitzvah, 2 months ago? Here, let's go over here. We can share. Tomorrow's exactly 2 months?
Yeah.
Oh, mazel tov. Is there like anniversaries?
I don't know.
Birthdays of the mitzvahs? Anyways, we'll sing the Shema on page 76.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
Thank you, Bodhi. So I'll invite folks to continue silently on your own. You can either use the words on the following few pages, or you can take a moment to just close your eyes and meditate on what it means to give and receive love in kind. Adonai Elohechem Amen. So I'd love to invite up Rochelle to read us a poem on this love called Ve'ahavta by Aurora Levins Morales.
Say these words when you lie down and when you rise up, when you go out, when you return, in times of mourning and in times of joy. Inscribe them on your doorpost, embroider them on your garments, tattoo them on your shoulders, teach them to your children, your neighbors, your enemies, recite them in your sleep. Here in the cruel shadow of empire, another world is possible. Thus spoke the prophet Roque Dalton. Altogether, they have more death than we, but altogether we have more life than they. There is more bloody death in their hands than we could ever wield, unless we lay down our souls to become them, and then we will lose everything. So instead, imagine winning. This is your sacred task. This is your power. Imagine every detail of winning, the exact smell of the summer streets in which no one has been shot, the muscles you have never unclenched from worry, gone soft as newborn skin, the sparkling taste of food when we know that no one on earth is hungry, that the beggars are fed, that the old man under the bridge and the woman wrapping herself in thin sheets in the back seat of a car, and the children who suck on stones, nest under a flock of roofs that keep multiplying their shelter. Lean with all your being towards that day when the poor of the world shake down a rain of good fortune out of the heavy clouds and justice rolls down like waters. Defend the world in which we win as if it were your child. It is your child. Defend it as if it your lover. It is your lover. When you inhale and when you exhale, breathe the possibility of another world into the 37.2 trillion cells of your body until it shines with hope. Then imagine more. Imagine rape is unimaginable. Imagine war is scarcely a credible rumor. Thus the crimes of our age, the grotesque inhumanities of greed, the sheer and astounding shamelessness of it, the vast fortunes made by stealing lives, the horrible normalcy it came to have, is unimaginable to our heirs, the generations of the free. Don't waver. Don't let despair sink its sharp teeth into the throat from which you sing. Escalate your dreams. Make them burn so fiercely that you can follow them down any dark alleyway of history and not lose your way. Make them burn clear as a starry drinking gourd over the grim fog of exhaustion and keep walking. Hold hands, share water, keep imagining, so that we and the children of our children's children may live.
Hold hands, share water, keep imagining, so that we and the children of our children's children may live. With that reflection on love, we celebrate the act and the fact that liberation is possible with the words of the Micha Mocha on page 90 in your prayer book, a prayer that celebrates the joy at that moment when liberation is finally achieved and in which we all experience freedom.
Yai,
Adonai et Yaakov, Ugolo miad hazak mimenu. Blessed is the liberation of this world. And I received liberation in the middle of that blessing. Francie drew me a picture. I just want to show everyone. It felt like perfectly fitting to get that right in the middle of the Micha Mocha. Amazing. So we continue on the journey through our evening service. We grounded in time. We found out that both we are loved and that we can give love, and that brings us to a place of liberation. And I think this is the key one. After liberation comes peace. So peace can't come before liberation is achieved. We first need to achieve liberation, and from there, peace flows easily and readily. And so to sing a song of peace, we turn to the Hashkivenu, page 92 or 94 in the transliteration. Blessed is the one who spreads their canopy of peace over all of us. And with that sense of peace, we're going to enter one of our most beloved rituals here at Shalom High Holidays, which is to hear the annual year in review by Charlie Varon, our in-house storyteller, who will share with us about all that has happened over this last Jewish year. Welcome, Charlie. I'm just going to grab something from here. Thank you.
We gather this evening as a community, witnesses to the passing of another year. We remember, we reflect, we take stock. Since we gathered here a year ago, the Earth has completed another orbit around the Sun. On the morning of October 7th, I got a text message from a friend. It said simply, "No words." It has been a year, and still, no words. Unspeakable terror, unspeakable suffering. In Israel, in Gaza, in the West Bank, and now in Lebanon. So let us sit in silence and be with that. Not all of us hold these events in the same way. We grieve differently. We interpret events differently. We anchor ourselves in different images, different moments from this horrific year. We tell different stories about what has happened, what is happening, what must happen. And how could it be otherwise? We all have different connections to the conflicts, to the people who are suffering. We have different historical reference points, different analyses, different political views, different political lineages. We blame differently. We argue differently. We lash out differently. We empathize differently. Many of us have friends on different sides of the divides. Some of us straddle different political and cultural and religious communities. Many of us are internally conflicted. But here we are, together. Together with what we have witnessed in the last year, witnessed even in the last few days, what we have seen, what we have heard, the pain, the outrage, the anguish, the fear and uncertainty. So let us be together, each holding what we hold, alone and together. Since we gathered here a year ago, the Earth has completed another orbit around the Sun. In the last year, the concentration of carbon dioxide reached a record high. The world continued to experience extreme weather events, and 2024 was the hottest summer on record. At the same time, in the last year, France announced a plan to end the use of fossil fuels by 2030, and Norway became the first country to have more EVs than gas-powered cars. In the last year, Donald Trump became the first U.S. president convicted of a crime. A jury found him guilty on 34 counts in the New York election interference trial. In the January 6th case, where Trump is charged with conspiring to overturn the 2020 election, the Supreme Court ruled that presidents have broad immunity from prosecution for official actions. In her dissent, Justice Sotomayor said the decision makes the president a king above the law. In Florida, a federal judge dismissed the case that accused Trump of illegally possessing classified documents. Special counsel Jack Smith is appealing that dismissal. In Georgia, Trump still faces 8 charges of attempting to interfere with the 2020 election. In Milwaukee, in July, the Republican Party chose Trump as their presidential candidate. In the last year, Trump survived an assassination attempt, picked J.V. Vance as his running mate, and continued to lie, defame, and slander on the campaign trail. In the last year, President Biden suspended his campaign after a disastrous debate performance. Kamala Harris became the new Democratic nominee and named as her running mate Governor Tim Walz, who had become known for describing Trump and Vance as weird. This year, once again, we face the most important election of our lives. There are 34 days until the 2024 general election, and early voting has already begun in some states. In the last year, the war in Ukraine continued, with Ukraine making strikes inside Russia. So far, that war has claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. The civil war in Myanmar entered its 4th year, and the country is on the brink of becoming a failed state. Sudan's civil war continued, with 10 million people now refugees or internally displaced. In the last year, Sweden joined NATO. In the last year, Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny died in prison. His death was widely attributed to Putin. In the last year, 3 Americans were freed in a major prisoner swap with Russia. In the last year, authorities in Iran continued to arrest and detain women's rights defenders. In the last year, Claudia Sheinbaum was elected as the first woman president of Mexico. Taiwan elected a new president, William Lai, who called on China to cease political and military intimidation. In Venezuela, President Nicolás Maduro declared victory in an election widely seen to be rigged. In Russia, Putin was reelected with a reported 88% of the vote. In Rwanda, Paul Kagame was reelected with a reported 99% of the vote. Britain's Labour Party returned to power for the first time in 14 years. In the Netherlands, the far-right Freedom Party increased its share of seats. And in Poland, Donald Tusk became prime minister, marking a major turn away from right-wing nationalism. In the last year, floods, earthquakes, wildfires, tornadoes, and hurricanes wrought damage on people, property, and wildlife. The southeast United States is now reeling from Hurricane Helene. In Mecca, over 1,000 pilgrims died as a consequence of extreme heat. In Baltimore, a container ship collided with a bridge. In the last year, artificial intelligence continued its march forward. Meta was sued by 41 states' attorneys general who accused the social media company of harming children's health. Brazil blocked the social media platform Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called, over rampant disinformation, and then Elon Musk backed down. In the last year, the Supreme Court threw out the Chevron decision, undercutting federal regulation of public health, workplace safety, and the environment. President Biden took further action to cancel student debt. The Federal Reserve cut interest rates by 0.5 point. The UAW went on strike, ratified new contracts, and Biden became the first president to walk a picket line. Just yesterday, tens of thousands of longshore workers launched a strike at ports along the East Coast and the Gulf of Mexico. In the last year, Ohio voters approved a constitutional amendment protecting reproductive freedom. This year, there are abortion-related measures on the ballot in 10 states. In the U.S. today, 1 in 3 women of reproductive age live in a state with an abortion ban. A door plug blew off a Boeing 737 at an altitude of 16,000 feet because it had been improperly installed. In the last year, Rite Aid, WeWork, Red Lobster, and Tupperware all declared bankruptcy. In the last year, 24 prisoners were executed in the United States, including Marcellus Williams, despite efforts to vacate his sentence by the St. Louis County prosecutor. Here in California, the last execution took place in 2006, and it is unlikely the death penalty will ever again be used in our state. In the last year, Sam Bankman-Fried was convicted of fraud. George Santos was expelled from Congress. Senator Robert Menendez was convicted of taking bribes. Rudolph Giuliani was disbarred, and New York Mayor Eric Adams was indicted for corruption. In the last year, the Paris Games were the first Olympics in which an equal number of male and female athletes took part. In the U.S., women's basketball is now on ESPN every night, and Caitlin Clark was named Rookie of the Year. In the last week, the athletics baseball team played their final game in Oakland. In the last year, San Francisco hosted the APEC summit with President Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping in attendance. The two countries agreed to reopen channels of military communication and to cooperate to fight climate change. The Washington Post reported that outside the summit, protesters opposed to Chinese policies were harassed and beaten by Chinese diplomats and members of pro-China diaspora groups. In California in the last year, a law was enacted banning legacy admissions to colleges and universities. Voters barely passed Proposition 1, which changed how the state allocates funding for mental health care and addiction care. A law took effect prohibiting the concealed carry of firearms in most places. California Attorney General Rob Bonta sued ExxonMobil, claiming the company engaged in a decades-long campaign of deception about the effectiveness of plastic recycling. The California Supreme Court ruled in favor of UC Berkeley, allowing it to construct housing at People's Park. Senator Dianne Feinstein died and was replaced by LaFonza Butler. And California became the first state to banish Fruit Loops from school cafeterias. In San Francisco, Waymo expanded its driverless robotaxi service. More than a third of office space remains vacant, and 1% of our citizens are unhoused. In our mayoral race, 4 major candidates are challenging incumbent London Breed. Key issues in the race include reviving downtown, building more housing, and how to help those struggling with homelessness and addiction. In the last year, the world lost Willie Mays, Henry Kissinger, Alice Munro, Phil Donahue, O.J. Simpson, Malachi McCourt, Maggie Smith, James Earl Jones, Daniel Kahneman, Chita Rivera, Sandra Day O'Connor, Adie Barkin, Robert Brustein, Dr. Ruth Westheimer, Rosalind Carter, Norman Lear, Tom Smothers, Donald Sutherland, Kinky Friedman, Seiji Ozawa, Pete Rose, Chris Christopherson, Berkeley journalist and radio host Larry Bensky, San Francisco novelist Herb Gold, and Richard Sherman, half of the songwriting team that created the word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. In the past year, we saw a new view of the black hole at the center of the Milky Way. Scientists continue to challenge human beings' sense of our own specialness. Some researchers are decoding the clicks of sperm whales and suggest sperm whales have a communication system considerably more complex than previously thought. In our community in the last year, we consecrated our new Or Shalom home on Cortlandt Avenue and formally installed our new rabbi, Rabbi Ferren. We celebrated new babies, b'nai mitzvah, graduations and weddings. Teeth were lost, new teeth grown. Many hours of homework were done. Parents and grandparents took care of children. Adult children cared for aging parents. A lot of us did the best we could for our loved ones. In the last year, activists organized for justice, for democracy, for universal health care, for voting rights, for climate justice, for environmental sustainability, not giving up on humanity or the planet. Around the world, millions of people worked for universal access to safe food, shelter, and clean water. In the last year, without warning or preparation, human beings entered into moments of intense joy. In the last year, some of us have lost family members and friends. Some have struggled with illness, injury, addiction, unemployment. Some have been blessed with healing and new beginnings. Let's reflect on what we have learned this past year, what we've learned about ourselves, what we've learned about loved ones and about our community, what we've learned about the world, what we've learned about our purpose in life. Shana Tova.
Thank you so much, Charlie. And, I thought that putting Charlie's words right before our silent Amidah would be the most fitting, for we're entering now a time for silent meditation and prayer, which could be the words in your prayer book that begin on page 104, but they could also be just a moment to reflect on all that has happened in this last year, to mourn, to grieve, to celebrate, and to make commitments for what's to come. So we'll enter the silent Amidah together. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you're willing and able. And we'll say the Kavanah together at the top of the page, and then invite you into silent meditation. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fiyah kitahilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fiyah kitahilatecha. 126, but if you are still praying, feel free to continue to do so. May the one who makes peace on high, let that peace rain down upon all of us. So now I'll share some words. Some things I did to avoid writing my High Holidays drashot this year while telling myself I was seeking inspiration, because when I tried to force myself to sit down and write them, I felt as if my soul was clawing at the inside of my skin. Here we go, my list. Went to the bay for a swim just to stare at the water and wonder really just how toxic it is. Tried to harvest acorns for the purpose of making flour, to which I might be allergic, jury's still out. Sought out time with my friend's newborn baby on every possible occasion. Went to a talk on joy in the Hasidic tradition. Attended many events to learn new High Holidays music, even though I knew it was too late to change any music for our services. Watched a lot of videos of cats cuddling babies on Instagram. Found minions in which to daven, but only arrived once they were over. Spent full days of work just responding to emails. Moved. Got installed as Shalom's rabbi. Wrote a grant proposal. Bought groceries only to order in my meals. And watched many, many, many seasons of the show Veep. Don't know if you all have seen it. And I've got to tell you, I'm not sure if the inspiration ever really struck. I've been feeling that way a lot this year. Like the spark of the creative that pulsed within me has been extinguished. That my hunger for learning has disappeared despite the fact that I am far from satiated. That my spiritual practice is around some corner the next day over that I have not even located. And I realized it's because I feel that I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. There is nothing that I can say that can even begin to touch the pain of what we are witnessing and experiencing on a global scale. My words feel empty as they fall from my mouth, dropping to the floor as full of the death in the world I see around me. What can one say in the face of mass death that only seems to beget more death with no end? A mass death that feels intimately close, yet in reality is so very far away. When I attempted to go to spiritual direction in the months after October 7th, I shared that I felt as if my spiritual practice too had died, that I couldn't get myself to engage in much of any solo practice, and even if I tried, it made me angry. That instead, I was joy-seeking, looking for indulgent, cathartic releases, mostly outside of the spiritual or the Jewish realm. That to me, contemplation or stillness felt like nothing more than escapism, yet snarkiness and disengagement felt utterly liberating. My spiritual director said, well, what if that is your spiritual practice in this time? So I asked myself, what if my avoidance of drash writing was the spiritual practice I needed in this time, that I needed in order to have anything to say? What if I watched Veep because I needed a safe and comical access point to help me grapple with the very real way political leaders can be inhumanely cruel? What if I watched videos of cats cuddling babies because I wanted to remember how we creatures have not only the capacity but the inclination to love and care for one another, even across interspecies difference? What if I ordered in my meals because I wanted to remember the simple delights of being alive? What if I spent time with my friend's baby because I no longer take infancy or longevity of life for granted, and I needed a reminder of what should be the ever-apparent sanctity of all life, if only we're brave enough to face it? What if I swam and I danced and I sang and I inquired into joy because one of the only things I can find to do in the face of mass death that, despite all of our best efforts, will not end, is to try to touch something that makes me feel alive? What if you're doing this too? The high holiday season is intelligently designed to carry us from birth, a theme of Rosh Hashanah, to death, a theme of Yom Kippur, and back to birth again during Simchat Torah, leaving us to enter the new year in the height of joy and abundant creation. But last year, we unexpectedly closed out this season in death and have remained in it since. The book of death remained open all year, and in it are tens of thousands of names that I don't even think the divine could have predicted, let alone written. We have lived the past year inside of some apocalyptic, never-ending Unetana Tokef prayer, hovering between who shall live and who shall die, yet in which the divine themselves has seemingly been deposed by evil human despots bent on nothing but self-aggrandizement. It is as if the book of life and the book of death have been ripped from the divine hands, and humans are scribbling furiously, terrified that if they stop, the book too will be stolen from their hands by someone who wants to see their name in it. Is this the idolatry we are again and again warned against in the Torah? The belief that somehow we will make better gods than the natural, unfolding yet incomprehensible and also sometimes seemingly unjust flow of the universe? That the only true judge in a seemingly unfair world must be ourselves? Do we human beings truly believe that we can render judgments that are not rooted at their core in self-interest? Well, if we are to live at a time where life and death judgments are held primarily in human hands, and this year we certainly are, then I call upon us to do so in accordance with the injunction in last week's Torah portion, the final Torah reading before Rosh Hashanah. Through Moses, the divine says, "On this day I call heaven and earth to bear witness. Life and death I have put before you, blessing and curse. Uvacharta b'chaim, choose life." So in a time of so much death, what if all I have to offer you is to choose life? Choose life not just for yourself, but for your neighbor. Not just for your neighbor, but for the stranger in your midst. And not just for the stranger in your midst, but for the foreigner. And not just for the foreigner you know, but for the foreigner you don't know. And not just for the foreigner you don't know, but for your enemy. Most importantly of all, choose life for your enemy. For as the ending of the aforementioned injunction goes, choose life in order that you and your offspring may live. Our ability to choose life for all is directly tied to our own capacity to live and thrive and continue on. Only by choosing life when it is hardest to choose do we ourselves live as well. Only by choosing life when it is hardest to choose do we, as a collectivity of all that is living, stand a chance of life triumphing over death. The books are in our possession. The pen is in our hands. Moses, too, held the pen for a sacred and powerful book. It is said that God dictated the Torah to Moshe, and he wrote it down. However, in the 8th to last line of the Torah, it states, "And so Moses, who served the divine, died there in the land of Moab." How, the rabbis asked, could Moses have written down his own death and everything that followed? Their answer, well, he wrote it in his tears. Despite my desperate reaches for joy, for catharsis, for aliveness in this time, tears abound. Enough tears to revive the dead back to life, if only my tears held such power. October 7th and the end to our high holiday season last year left us in an inverted world where death overtook life, in which we have been flooded again, despite God's promise to never again flood the world. For this time the flood is composed of our own tears. May this high holiday cycle serve as a lifeboat. May this high holiday cycle serve as a tikkun, repairing the unjust rupture and restoring our world to life in the way that teshuvah does. This past year, the book of death was written by fear. This next year, may the book of life be written with our tears. So, as we write the book of life together, we'll turn to page 124, and we'll sing the words that bring us into the book of life. B'sefer Chaim, Baracha v'Shalom, in the book of life, may there be written blessing and peace and sustenance for all. Shalom. Amen. May it be so. In the spirit of life and in the spirit of health, we'll turn now to our prayer for healing, which you can find on the second page of your supplement sheet, the words of Elna Rafan Allah, what Moses sang for his sister Miriam. Prayer can be so simple, truly, it can just be so simple. All we need to ask is, please heal her. Please heal us. And so I'd love to invite up Rabbi Meira, who will read our healing list for us. We'll first sing the words of our prayer, and in the middle, Rabbi Meira will read the list of names of those in our community who are in need of healing. And then, thank you. And then we'll invite you all to share names as well.
Asema Alababsa, Diane Aven, Jeff Balch, Layla and the rest of the Barrage family, Bruce Barron, Judy Blay, Adria Blum, Leah Burian, Joan Cabanos, Carol Clark, Jarrett Cole, Michelle Cole, Amy Conger, Casey Connor, Daniel Bendoba V'chaim, Gareth Engler, Osha Hanfling, Hadassah Bat Hanach the Eleanor, Rabbi Maurice Harris, Joseph Herbert, Roz Idelson, Cleus Jensen, Via Linder, Tom Levy, Heidi Layton, Carl Magruder, Marion Mandel, Elaine Mannon, Judith McCulloch, Jenny Moss, Harry O'Brien, Bryna Rifkind, Mary Rogero, Claire Ronzani, Audrey Rosenheim, John Rosenheim, Gail Sabin, Jean Schlesinger and family, Nader Shabahanji, Phyllis Thurm, Amy Trachtenberg, Stephen Tobias, Natan Ben-Lev Amerale, John Vrolik, Nancy Wortman, Linda Zaretsky, and all those who have been injured in wars abroad.
So now, if anyone else would like to share a name, I'll pass my name around, my hand, and you're invited to share. May they find healing of mind and body and spirit. We also take time during our services to remember all those who are no longer with us in body, but who are with us in spirit, who are with us in this room, in our hearts. At Or Shalom, we are recognizing the recent losses of Louise Gross and Tim Campbell, and the yahrzeits of Mark Garcia, Elizabeth Summer, Joseph Benjamin Gavrin, Sam Pinto, Sandy Siegel, William Schulman, Fred Averill, Bruce Budnick, Sylvia Stein, Leonard Rudolph, Peter Shim, Roger Henry Rifkind, Sunny Fine, Michelle Kallman, Richard Sheehan, Tony Fox, Yeshaya Grama, Saul Winchell, Rose Thurm, and Richard Denholtz. Are there any names that anyone else would like to share for whom you are in mourning this evening or observing a yahrzeit? For all those named and unnamed, and for the countless names that we don't even know, we'll recite the Mourner's Kaddish on page 1216 in your books. If you're in mourning or you're observing a yahrzeit, or if it's your custom, I invite you to rise in body or spirit. Page 1216. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv yimru amen, yahei shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam ulmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brechu le'ela le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya V'haim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru amen. May their memories be for a blessing. May we hold them close when we are feeling in need of something better, something more, something beyond our reality. And may their memories serve in paving the way to that better world. And so we'll sing for you all who are grieving the words on page 9 in your supplement sheet. Hamakom yenachem etchem. May you be comforted among all of the mourners. Hamakom yenachem etchem b'tov sha'ar avelei Zion v'Yerushalayim. May you be comforted. And it's traditional throughout our high holiday season to always end with one specific psalm, Psalm 27, a psalm that kind of oscillates between overconfidence and utter fear, and kind of migrates back and forth between those until it lands in a place of hope, but immersed in reality. A hope that can fit in this world, a hope that's not beyond this world, but a hope that really is possible. And so we'll sing some words from that song. It's on page 2 in your supplement sheet, called Psalm 27. These words are about the ways in which we need to turn toward one another. When we're feeling broken, when we're feeling hurt, when we most want to turn away, we need to turn toward. Psalm 27, page 2 in your supplement. May we know we can always turn toward one another in this community. So now we're getting close to the end. I would love to invite up Lisa Garbus, our president of Or Shalom, to share with you all a little bit about our last year here in this community. Thank you, Lisa.
Shana Tova. It feels really good, and it fills my heart to be here together with all of you. I'm thinking of the song, Hine Matovu Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad, which I'll translate as, wow. How good and how satisfying to be together in loving community. We humans need loving community. We need each other. And when there is distressing news in our country and in our world, we especially need local community. We need others nearby, others with whom we can get together, work together to heal ourselves and the world, share experiences, support each other, and generally be human together. Or Shalom has been a loving community for me. Each of you here today, in person and on video, is part of that community. Thank you. I hope you all know that this community is here for you. There are so many ways to engage with the Or Shalom community. I know that personally, I have been involved more or less over the years, depending on what's going on in my life. I invite you to find what works for you and what's meaningful to you. It might be coming to high holiday services, or other holidays, or Shabbat services. It might be participating in our youth and family programming or adult education. It might be showing up to Torah study, to the Considering God Salon, to our annual ethics lecture, to Chavurah groups like the descendants of Holocaust survivors and refugees, the Gen Xers, the young adult group, the wise women over 70, among others. It might be joining our Tikkun Olam work to repair the world by working for justice and peace and human rights for all. It might be joining Kvetch and Kvel crafting, Mahjong and Munchies. We are all storytellers, book group, Shabbat hikes. It might be hosting or being a guest at one of our new member Shabbat dinners. A bunch of those dinners just happened last Friday night in people's homes all around the city, and we're planning more. I could go on, but I'm supposed to keep this brief. I do want to say that one important function of a loving community is to come together in times of loss. We need a minyan, a community, to say the mourner's Kaddish, because it would be unbearable to face a big loss alone. I have been deeply moved by the way the Or Shalom community has come together in the face of the tremendous losses of October 7th and its continuing aftermath, and also in the face of the losses of those within and dear to our community. A loving community bears witness and makes space for everyone and for all the feelings that arise. And when there are joyous occasions, it's important to come together to celebrate. I want to mention two recent joyous occasions Or Shalom has celebrated. They've already been mentioned, but they bear repeating. We gathered a couple months ago to consecrate our new home on Cortlandt Avenue in Bernal Heights. We put up our mezuzah and danced on the sidewalk. For 30 years, we have wandered, and now we have a home. We're excited to welcome everyone there as we fully move in and decide how to renovate the space in the coming months. And we recently celebrated the formal installation of Rabbi Farron Borella as our settled rabbi, with a moving and joyful Shabbaton full of learning and warmth, spirit, and song. We're thrilled to have Rabbi Farron's leadership. As a leader, one thing she's doing is encouraging us all to be leaders, to create a leaderful community. Wow. How good and how satisfying to be together in loving community. I wish everyone a sweet and good new year.
Thank you, Lisa, so much. Thank you for those beautiful words. Deeply resonate. And then, am I inviting up Sue to give? We're just going to give a few announcements about what's coming up in the next few days, and then we'll close out our time here tonight together. So thank you, Sue, for giving our announcements.
Hi, everybody.
Rosh Hashanah continues, or just starts, but Thursday, tomorrow, October 3rd, back here at Universalist, wherever we are, starting at 10 a.m. Day 2 of Rosh Hashanah, which is free to all, no pre-registration needed, is Friday, October 4th at Ocean Beach at Taravel. Starts at 4:30. Bring a vegetarian potluck dish and reusable plates, utensils, please. Then on Saturday, October 5th, there'll be Shabbat, Shuva with an embodied spiritual practice, Shabbat services with Gail Gerwitz at our home at 333 Cortlandt Avenue. That starts at 10 a.m. Please register via the website. On Friday, October 11th, Kol Nidre, back here, starts at 5 p.m. with a family service, the main service at 7 p.m. Yom Kippur follows the next day, or that evening, on to the next day. Saturday, October 12th, starts at 10 a.m. with activities throughout the day and the break fast at 7:30 p.m. Childcare will be offered from 10 to 12. Please register for childcare in advance. Also bring along a vegetarian potluck for the break fast. We also have several, I'll say many, volunteer opportunities for Break the Fast. Please sign up on the Sign Up Genius. There are also 2 chances to celebrate Sukkot. Guests on indigenous land, opening night in the Sukkah on Wednesday, October 16th at 6:30, and Shabbat in the Sukkah on Friday, October 18th. Both are at USF. Another vegetarian potluck, so bring food to share. Hashanah Rabbah and Simchat Torah are on Wednesday, October 23rd at 101 Gold Mine Drive. And for our youth and family programs, enrollment for our youth and family programs is open. From learning Hebrew to experiential and field-based learning, there's something for everyone. Our 2024-25 programs include Or Shalom's Community School, the Sunday Family Program, the B'nai Mitzvah, the Bat Mitzvah program, and the Aleph Bet class. We hope your family will consider joining us. Please visit the website for more information. And lastly, please bring unexpired food for our food bins in the lobby. An annual tradition at Or Shalom is collecting food for the food bank. So please look around your kitchens or go out and get some sometime. And please share them in the food bin in the lobby.
Thank you. So if all of that just went whoosh right over your head, it's all on the website, easy to find, but we hope that you'll join us back here tomorrow morning and in the days to come. And so Or Shalom has a tradition of closing out our high holiday services in connection, not just spiritually, but physically, for a final song that you can find on page 9 in your supplement sheet. And so I invite you to rise in body or spirit and take hands with the consent of someone near you. Take hands or make contact with someone close to you so that we can all be connected, or all of us who want to be connected can be connected. And we'll sing the words. I want to join you all. Can I come in? Here, I'll go like this, and then I'll connect this way. Oh, it didn't work how I wanted it to. I'm connected with them spiritually. You guys want to come down here? You can, oh, wait, don't go that way with the candles. Ah! I'm scared of fire. This is something you'll learn about me. Robin, connect to me. So we'll sing the words on page 9. May the blessing of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide with you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God Shana Tova Umetuka. May it be a sweet new year. May it transform us all into who we want to be and this world into what we want it to be. And we'll sing you out with Adon Olam, which is on some page. I'll let you know momentarily. Adon Olam, page 1224, if you want to follow along. Shana Tova Umetuka, everyone.
Shemo
I know.